What's up, everybody? It's Matt Johnson. We're back with another episode of Real Estate Uncensored. This is the place where you get actionable ideas, insight, and inspiration to turn your real estate career into a life of freedom. And speaking of freedom, we're going to talk about selling from the heart, the art of selling from the heart with Shirlene Reeves. We're talking about limiting your rejection and objections, making the sales process easier on you and the prospect. We got a lot of stuff to get into. It's going to be an awesome episode. But before we bring Shirlene in, let me bring in my esteemed colleague, my partner in also all sorts of real estate related crimes, Greg McDaniel, the junior grandmaster. What is up?
In all real estate related crimes? Did I hear that right? That's a pretty accurate depiction of exactly what we do. But dude, I had the coolest experience happen to me today, and I've got to share it with everybody. I mean, okay, so I had this random call, this number that's called me today, and I'm like, okay, whatever. I was doing something else, and I was unable to get a hold of it, and I was able to call the number back. Dude, this was a return call from a cold call over a year and a half ago. She randomly wrote down my number, called me up, and says, hey, I'm thinking about selling one of my investment properties. I wrote your number down. Do you want to come over and list it? I'm like, let me think. Yeah, that'd be good. I can handle that. I can do this for you. So just epic, dude. It was such a blessing that these people.
But Greg.
Oh God, what?
Cold calls don't work.
I know, Matt. Cold calls never work. I mean,
sorry, I just had to stick that in
there. That's just because you don't like to do them.
Hey, well, I don't know anybody who does, but they work. All right. So we got a ton of people watching. Just want to quickly thank everybody. Sandy and Shay, Colin, Caitlin, and Colin again, Arne, Stevie, Andy, and Larry, and all kinds of good people. Thank you so much. Guys, if you have questions or comments while we're rolling with the show live on Facebook, just put them right below here in the comments. I keep my eye on it. I bring the questions to Greg and our guest. And then if you're watching or listening to the replay here on YouTube or iTunes or Stitcher, make sure to subscribe. That way you get all future episodes any way that you want it. So let's bring in our special guest, Shirlene Reeves. Shirlene, how are you today?
Hey, Matt and Greg. So great to be here with you. I've really been looking forward to this over Christmas and everything.
You know what? I've been looking forward to this and speaking with you off air. Oh my gosh, this is going to be an epic show, guys. She has a two-day intensive course, and we have talked her into it. We're going to condense it down to 60 minutes, and your head's going to explode afterwards. So I don't know what to say.
All right. Well, let's start simple for a second. It is going to be fun. Shirlene, give us a little background, just a kind of a 60-second bio on who you are, where you are, and what you do.
Wow, 60 seconds. Woo. Okay, so I've been a realtor for 28 years, but I don't practice anymore, but I know all about you and all the pain that you have to go through in order to do what you need to do. And I have a short little story like that. May I tell it, Matt?
Yes, please go ahead.
You know, I was supposed to go out with my son. He was only 8 years old, and he'd been waiting for me to go to his baseball game. And I had a person that called me up and said, you know what? I saw your ad in the newspaper, and I just won the lottery, and I want to buy that house and write it up right now. So my son was mad at me for days, weeks.
Oh my gosh, that is a good story. That is a good story.
Right?
I was going to say, Greg, how often did that happen to you as a kid?
What, when people would just want to buy my house?
No, when your dad would have to do something real estate related and leave you high and dry.
Religiously. Okay, so we'll talk a little bit about that. When I turned 16, I was so pumped. I had my driver's license and I was ready to drive. And my dad's like, "Hey, Greg, you want to drive the car?" I'm like, "Yeah, Dad, I want to drive the car." Throws me the keys. In my mind, I'm thinking windows down, music up, rolling down the freeway with Dad. It's cool. No. Windows up, air conditioning on, radio off, Terry on phone calls all the time. Matt, your face keeps disappearing, brother man.
It might be the internet connection on my end. Just hang tight. So I've noticed you guys freezing up a little bit, so I'm guessing it's me.
Well, it's a blessing to have you behind that. And now I can just look at myself here.
Yeah. All right.
So, being a realtor is a true sense of being on demand. Oh. And I love to talk to realtors about compel, don't sell, because it makes such a huge difference. And I built my business for 17 years from zero to millions. And I did it with this technique that I'm teaching. And people have such an easy time because it eliminates rejection and it totally gets rid of objections. And I bet you're wondering, how in the heck can that happen, right?
Yeah. How can I not get rejected and do real estate? Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Are you sure you're not selling, white lies here? Is this, snake
oil?
Snake oil?
That's right.
Riddle me.
She's going to be moving on to the next town.
How you talk to your clients. If you know the words that your clients are waiting to hear and you step in with them and become a friend with them before you ever try to sell them, there's some really unique techniques that just completely eliminate rejection. Because once you become a friend, they're not going to reject you anyway, right? Have you ever had a friend reject you that was knew pretty well?
Ex-girlfriends, but not too many of the other types.
Come on. We said friends. Come on. Oh my
I'm just talking about general friends, no spouses, no
No, not really. No, not at all.
All right. Well, before we jump into that, Shirlene, can you share kind of what you're doing nowadays now that you're not practicing anymore as a realtor?
Oh, I'd love to share that with you. I teach massive visibility for massive income. And what I do is I hand pick just the finest entrepreneurs who really want to make a difference in the world, and they want to be the go-to guest expert in their area of expertise. But it all starts with compel, don't sell, because if you don't know how to sell, there's no point in any of it. Agreed?
Agreed.
Right. So that's the bottom line. And then over time, they learn their benefits that they offer their clients. So you guys should be really thinking about the benefits of home ownership when you talk, and how you put those into words when you're talking to your clients.
Very
so I could say, you want me to do an example of what I do?
Yes.
So one of the benefits of working with me is that you get on CBS, NBC, Fox, Cron 4, and you become known for being the expert of who you are.
So how much do you cost? I'm willing to hire. It sounds fantastic.
We'll talk about that later.
You get the friends and family discount, which is twice as expensive as everybody else.
Yes, as well it should be.
There's no realtor out there that is the go-to guest expert. Yep. See, that's what I'm saying.
I volunteer for the position. I'm good to go. I've had all my shots, and I don't
we just hired a new producer for the show today.
We did.
And among her duties are pitching us to radio stations, local radio, local TV, and stuff like that. So we'll have to get her ramped up. But I'm sure Shirlene has some good tips on that. What's up,
Shirlene, you said Cron 4. That means you're a Bay Area gal.
Well, it was actually San Diego that I did it, and it was their sister channel, I guess.
Oh, okay. Because I'm like Cron 4. That's like I've been on Cron 4, in their studios before. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, we're gonna totally do this. This is something that we want. So, Chris, my business partner, this has randomly been sitting outside in our cafeteria area. Yes, it's a random huge bottle of booze, and it says a very rare and fine Scotch whiskey blend with a plastic top. Not so rare.
I was going to say, feel free to package that up and send it my way. But then when you mentioned the plastic top, that's a no-go.
Like a wine bottle with a screw top,
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. Class. It's my new thing,
Hey, there's some good wine with screw tops. Come on now.
Or bring me wine that has a screw top on it, okay?
Deal. In our fledgling relationship, I will not do screw top wine for you. No. Bad.
All right. Well, what do you say we take a quick question? We'll riff on this for a couple minutes before we get into the bulk of the content. So this is from the Lead Gen Objections group. Heather Neville asks, what is the best way for a new agent to get involved in the community to meet people and build relationships? Greg, let's start with you.
Well, as always, Matt, I'm going to say, Facebook Live, Periscope, Instagram Live, utilizing all of those different abilities, and tactics that we have at our fingertips that are for the first time ever been available for free. Also, not just hiding behind the screen, but also getting out into the public, doing the 60-day challenge, handing out 25 business cards every single day. And you will have more people that you'll be able to influence and bring value to than you'll know what to do with in 60 days. But so many people are so afraid of that itty bitty teensy weensy tiny little word called no, that it hinders them and keeps them less than what they should be. One of my favorite sayings is everything you want is on the other side of fear. So get over your fear, go hand out business cards, go get on Instagram and all those Facebook Live and Periscope and everything else, do the high tech, high touch, and I think that's what you would do.
Okay. Shirlene, how about you?
Well, I think Greg really hit it on the nose, but I have something to add that you may never have thought of.
Ooh, challenge taken.
And in my world, you have to do public speaking, just like Matt, you are, and Greg, you are too. And if you really want to get out there and make a difference, you've got to do public speaking. So my suggestion, and here's what I did, I went to Toastmasters. Because in Toastmasters, they are a captive audience. So if you're a realtor and you want to talk about this awesome home, you can make up a story around this home and why it's on the market. And then guess what? You'll do business right out of Toastmasters, and it allows you to build your database. And that's what's so important, so that you can do little videos about tips for your future clients each week.
That's a fantastic idea. You're honing a skill, you're getting around like-minded individuals, and you're able to pitch your product, unbeknownst to them, but you're selling them on the reasons why they should buy the home or why they shouldn't buy the home, or good and bad or whatever else. That's a fantastic idea. I have never thought of it.
On top of that, Greg, they give you feedback. So you can see what each person thinks about what you had to say, and who knows, it might be, hey, I want that house.
It could be, hey, I want that house, or boy, that guy sucks at talking, or hey, you know what? But you know what? Hey, if you did get that, hey, that guy sucks at talking, comment, at least you can get better. And then you're like, why am I losing all these listing appointments? Well, because you're when you go to the listing appointment, you're calling the wife fat and kicking the husband in the shins. I found the problem. Not a good way to start off, but I like that idea. I really do. I've been always wanting to sign up for something like that, a speech class or something along those lines. So you've now talked me into it. Thank you much.
Well, and Greg, it's very inexpensive. It's so ridiculously inexpensive. It's probably the most inexpensive marketing I've ever done.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. You got me again. Guys, really take a look at that. I mean, honestly, think about what we were just talking about here. Think how you're life hacking. So go find something else where you can hone in a skill and get around like-minded people. It could be a variety of anything, but Toastmasters is a phenomenal way to go. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I'm kind of I'm building essentially my own Toastmasters a little bit here in San Diego with some people. So we're actually going to we're putting together a series of lunch and learns, and part of the process of ramping up for that is doing our portion of the presentation for each other, and then giving each other feedback on how we can improve our 15 to 20 minute section of the lunch and learn and stuff like that. So you don't have to necessarily do it in somebody else's structured environment, especially if you can't find the right Toastmasters group for you. You can always just go out and start your own and start building relationships with business owners that you specifically want to target, and build your own kind of mastermind group and help each other out that way. So that's my 2 cents on it.
Good
so,
work.
Shirlene, before we dive into the content of what you want to share about selling from the heart and limiting objections and objections and all that good stuff, share with people how they can take a step towards you and just learn more about you.
You can go to massivevisibilitymedia.com. And you'll get to take the Compel Don't Sell quiz. It's a little 10-question quiz, and it'll tell you whether you are compelling when you talk to your clients, or whether you're pushing them away and you're giving them the hard sell.
I like it. I'm going to go check that, actually.
Massivevisibilitymedia.com.
Very cool.
Very,
all right, so
nice.
give us a little background on how you kind of came across like the main perspective shift, or the big idea that's behind this intensive course that you're about to teach over the next couple of days here in San Diego. What was kind of the big little bit of the story behind the big aha moment?
Oh, wow. Well, I can tell you that a lot of it, I'm also a certified financial educator. I'm one of only 253 in the nation. And so entrepreneurs come to me all the time and they say, I'm having such a hard time making money. I'm running from networking group to networking group, but I have nothing to show for it, and I'm getting burned out. And worse yet, I might have to get a job. So I don't know what to do. Well, because I've been practicing tacking back and forth with regard to this sales technique, I've perfected it over 28 years. And somebody said to me, why in the heck aren't you teaching it? We all need it, and you're not teaching it. So I said, okay, fine, I'll put it all together. And now it's packaged with, it's a very interesting thing. We're actually making history, Matt. It's very exciting because you have 5 modules that go out ahead of time before the 2-day intensive. And it's all about your own personality types in sales.
I love
so
it.
when you take the little
you beat us to it. Come on.
Gotta leave something for us.
Come on. I've been thinking, yeah. So Greg, when did we have the idea for that product? Last year?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you take the profile, you take
Okay.
the profile, and you take it from the perspective of sales, not just who you are in general.
Right.
We want you as a salesperson or not a salesperson, whichever you happen to be. And then you learn all about yourself with regard to sales. And then about 3 modules in, you learn how to relate to others based on their personality types and their profile. So you've got a one-upmanship right off the bat when you go to talk to people. Then you come into, it's amazing how that works. And it's through the DISC process, and we're offering virtues along with it. So if you don't have a specific virtue and you're raising your hand going, yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, I'll do that. And it's not one of your virtues, then you're not a happy character once you get into it. So we talk about the virtues also. And then we move into the 2-day compel, don't sell. We talk about our benefits. We talk about our target market, because I think one of the big mistakes realtors make, and you could tell me if this is right or not, is we try to sell everyone, right?
Agreed.
Yeah.
Everyone.
And we're deathly afraid of not trying to sell to everyone.
Yes.
Exactly.
But if you define and pinpoint exactly who you want to work with, and there are levels of people you can work with based on whether they even have any money or not yet, right? So why try to work with everyone? It's exhausting. And you don't get a sale. That's one of the biggest problems.
Yeah, there's been a lot of times, like I'm blessed enough at this point where I can pick and choose the people I want to work with. And if they're a dick, then I'm not going to spend my time working with a dick. I'd rather spend time with the people I can work with that are actually going to treat me with respect and kindness and understanding, and they want me to work with them, and I'm not begging to work with them. When you first start out, you claw and try to work with anything that has a pulse, because like, oh my God, I'm desperate, I have nothing, I got to do something. But I mean, Aaron Wittenstein, the founder of LGSO Group, I mean, he fired his first client. He didn't work with him because he's like, I don't want to work with this, this butthead.
Yeah. Well, it was a vastly overpriced listing. I mean, there's only, that sounds like a recipe for a lot of free work, and then not a lot of commission at the end of the road.
And scratching at the bottom where nobody else wants anything. Right?
Yeah, exactly. But
that's what happens on the up desk.
Yeah. But if you could hold yourself with respect and honor and treat yourself as a high-powered real estate agent first day in, and understand that you bring your time and your knowledge to this business, that's all you bring to this business. So if you're not going to have enough time to work with the nice people, and your knowledge is going to be just by the wayside because they don't respect you, what's the point? It's going to be a miserable experience for you, and they're just going to beat you up like the redheaded stepchild. Now, that doesn't sound fun to me at all. Well, I like beating up on Matt.
Go there with that, Greg. I have another little thing. I'll share it with you. This is a part of my class, and it's a super tip, okay? And it has to do with age. It has to do with age and who you market. So and I think Matt and I had this kind of discussion when I interviewed him for WMAX TV, that if you're working with the millennials, or you're talking with people that are between 25 and 35, they're not going to have much money. They're really just trying to earn a living at this point and pay for shoes for the baby. And they're trying to put away for college. And they're also putting away over here for their 401k. So where's the extra money to buy a house? Not a good demographic to try and sell, right? So when a 20-year-old, late 20, early 30 calls you, probably not going to happen unless the parents are anteing up. Agreed?
Yeah, we have a lot of parents helping their kiddos
So
out.
I think your first pre-qual question should be, how much do your parents really love you?
Yeah. Well, my first pre-qual question is, do you have a trust?
Uh-oh.
Do you have a trust?
It's like a first
not
date
bad.
question.
I like it. Oh, that's funny.
Have they set up a trust? Anyway.
All right. So Paul Franklin had a good comment. He says, I fired my first client too, a buyer who dragged me all over town submitting lowball offers. # bye, Felicia.
Exactly. And that's what happens in that age group. I love them. I just love them. But they're just not ready yet. That's all. They're not ready. And
they're not ready.
Like first-time sellers are also extremely hard to work with. So even if they've made it through the hurdle of buying their first home, helping them to sell a home for the first time is a freaking nightmare. That was my first client, and they wanted to sue me They got my manager involved, all because had not gone through the process and had no idea of what a pain in the butt the close, the contract to close part it really is, because they hadn't gone through that process before. And yeah, there's a lot of people I feel like that are our age, maybe 30, like 25 to 35 in that group of agents that want to work with their peers because they have a heart for people and they want to help people find their dream home, and that's great. But you have to really be prepared for that level of inexperience. And there's what is it, Greg? The HGTV effect. Everybody expects things to be simple like that.
Yes,
it's literally the exact opposite of that.
It is. I actually had a client of mine that I worked with for a while, and it was middle last year. And she's a millennial, young gal. She's looking to buy her first house. Her parents come from money. They have a bunch of houses, so she thinks she knows what the process was. She became such a royal pain in the ass that I literally fired her, and I said, "You're hashtag worst client ever." And she even refers to herself as, "Hey, Greg, it's hashtag worst client ever. How are you?" It was the greatest thing ever to fire that crazy broad. But I mean, I respected myself to the point I'm like, "Yep, bye-bye, you gotta go." Nuts. I mean, she belonged in a freaking padded room with a nice white coat on, and had her arms like this. That shit crazy.
So it tells you you're going to learn a lot, right?
Oh God.
And you're probably going to make very little money by the time you split with a broker.
Zero money. It was not worth the time.
So focus on the sweet spot, pinpoint the sweet spot. So you're looking at the 40s to the 55s. Those are awesome for purchasing because they may be, if they got lucky, they may be in a move up. Or they may not have enough room, but they're also saving for college for those kids. So don't forget that. But then when you get into 50 and older, those guys are really easy. They're a higher end home, right, Greg? Higher end home. And they're easier to work with because they have money. They have a retirement account. They have the funds to do it. And they're probably done putting the kids through college. So if you really want to do the easy sale, look in the eyes and see who's in the older age group.
I won't tell them that. Although my business partner is sitting right over here. He and I are 10 years and 5 days apart in age. So I just turned 38. He turned 48. And, I love to razz him about that all the time. But I mean, it's true. As you get older, Chris, older. He doesn't like me.
Face it, you're going to get older and you want to. You don't want to die before you can, right?
Yeah, no. You definitely do not want to die before you have to. But it's interesting. Like my demographic versus his demographic. There's a significant difference in regards to the size and type of property that's being purchased. And if you're going to be working with the same amount of work, might as well get the highest paycheck you possibly can. But you also have to keep in mind and be respectful of the fact that if you're 21 years old, you're just getting into the business, working with $1, $2, $5, $10 million properties and buyers and sellers is not going to be a high probability unless you have a big team or a big name that's going to back you, because a 65-year-old is not going to trust a 21-year-old with a $2 million deal. When their buddy Bob's.
Don't you know about putting gray in your hair, Greg?
I've actually thought about that. I've actually thought about doing that when I was younger.
Difference, right?
It does. I now don't have to dip my chin into wisdom. It is already there by its own self, unfortunately.
But that's what I'm saying. You can make yourself look older, and then they'll accept you as being older. But you got to live with that psychologically.
Yeah. So when you're 21 years old and you put gray in your beard and in your hair and you go try to pick up a girl at the bar, she's gonna think you're the creepy old dude, and you're like, "No, dude, I'm really this your age. I'm just trying to get more business." She's like, "Yeah, I don't think so, weirdo. You gotta go."
And you put your silver rimmed glasses on, right?
Oh my God. Yes. How to push girls away and get listings. Okay.
All right. So let's get into the big question, because I know when I mentioned this up front, this probably caught a lot of people's attention, which is how does selling from the heart and this kind of approach to selling that you're advocating, how does it limit rejection? Because that's what especially new agents struggle with so much.
I know, and I agree. And I went through it too. So my heart goes out to you, because I know I was a realtor and I'm still a realtor. In fact, I sell property in Mexico, if you can believe that. And I'm not trying to sell you a bridge, but I really do sell property.
But Greg, she has a lovely property in Cancun to show you after the show.
Oh, fantastic,
right.
man.
But the answer to that is a different way of looking at sales. As I was talking to you about Toastmasters, And the higher up you go in the ranks in Toastmasters, and then you go to their conventions, you become more credible, right? Like I'm a distinguished Toastmaster. And so when I walk in with that title, people perk up, they listen. Mm-hmm. And so how do you avoid rejection? First of all, is, like I said earlier, becoming a friend. Become a friend with the people that you want to work with prior to trying to sell them. What happens is we go out and we network and we just pounce on people, and we want to sell them right away. Have you noticed that?
Oh yeah. You want to get that paycheck. You look at them as a payday instead of a human being.
Yeah.
And in reality, they don't have any reason to trust you because you've done nothing to bring any value to their lives yet. But we don't think like that. We don't think like that. We think in reverse, which is wrong.
Yes. Yeah. So Greg, play a little game with me, okay? A little role play game with me. Okay. So just say we're out networking. Okay. And I don't want you to be running to every networking group either, so you don't get burnt out. So and don't hang out with realtors. That's another thing. Stop hanging out with realtors because you're not going to be able to sell them. I see them going in packs, and who are we going to sell in that group? That's a waste of time.
My young professionals group, when I was a part of it about 2+ years ago, I had to get out because you know what? They only wanted to hang out with other real estate agents. I'm like, how in the hell is this valuable? I mean, why can't we go work with the, accountants or just anybody? I mean, accountants are probably pretty damn boring.
Anybody.
But I mean, they got money.
We're not at a networking group where there's other realtors, okay? There might be one or two, but they're no good.
Okay, of course they suck. Horrible. Deplorable individuals.
I would just walk up to you and say, hey, Greg, I'm Shirlene. How are you doing?
Hey, Shirlene. I'm doing well, thank you.
Great. So, you know what I'd love? Just tell me a little bit about you. What's going on with you?
Well, I'm a Sagittarius. I love long walks on the beach in the evening time. My favorite color is blue. I have 2 cats. I don't have dogs. I just remodeled my house. I love my mom. I love my dad. My family's my rock.
Okay. Oh, awesome. So, I was walking on the beach the other day in La Jolla, and I saw this gorgeous blue house. Have you seen that one up on the hill?
Yes, I stop and drool every time I can. I would just wish and dream. I see myself in there at all times. I really want to live in that property. I saw it when I first moved to San Diego, wherever the hell I am. Something.
So Greg, it's so nice chatting with you, and I'd love to get together with you for a cup of coffee or maybe some tea. Would that work for you?
I would love to. I would really appreciate it, and I could really learn a lot from you since you're a distinguished Toastmaster. I am a lowly beginner, so I would love to pick your brain if you wouldn't mind.
Sure. All right. So do you mind if I reach out and we'll see if we can figure out a time?
Not a problem. Here's my card.
Okay. Awesome. Thanks so much, Greg. See you next time.
Thank you, Shirlene. I appreciate it.
That's all step number 1 is. That's it. And I was waiting for Greg to ask me what I do. And if he'd asked me what I do, I would have said, oh, let's talk about that next time. I want to hear more about you.
So you're using a
relationship.
So are you using a hybrid of the Ford technique, family, occupation, recreation, and dreams, and morphing that? Huh?
No.
Not really.
I'm using the 3-step Waltz through sales process.
And shot down.
And what's the 3-step Waltz?
Well, you just heard the first step.
Yeah.
The second step is actually sitting down and talking to them, and you go back and you go, I was thinking about what you said about that blue house, and I was checking that out for you. You know what? How big that house is? And then guess what? We start talking about real estate, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. And also, they've received my email that had Matt, you've seen what's on the bottom of my email, right? You can check me out from one way to Sunday, right? Because I have the sizzle reel on there. I've got everything on there. So they'll go and they'll look at everything about you before they ever meet with you the second time. And that allows them to ask questions, and everybody loves real estate. So of course they're going to talk to you about real estate.
They really do. They really, really do love real estate. People always ask, like, so how's the market? And, a lot of people just say, oh my God, it's amazing. It's fantastic, because they're viewing them as a payday and not as a human being. Right. I heard a great counter to that question, which will bring more value to you so you can sit down and discuss more with them. So you asked me how the market is. And I say, well, Shirlene, it really depends. Are you looking to buy, sell, rent, or invest?
No, but that's too salesy. That's too salesy.
I thought it was pretty damn hard.
You see, that's the problem. We've taught to have these same phrases that we use all the time. They've drilled them into our head. I know that phrase, but you're not a friend then. You just became a salesperson.
Interesting. I never really thought about that.
What's a better way to phrase that? Or do you just redirect back to them?
Well, it depends on the conversation, but if you want to redirect that, you just say, "Oh, have you been looking at the houses? Have you seen that blue house up on the hill? I'd love to take you through it if you'd like to see it, if it's on, because it's listed. Or there's one down the street. I could take you through that one too, and we could just talk. There's no commitment to that." What do you think? You think you're going to go look?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
of course you are.
You're turning what I've always done on 180 degrees on its head, because you're always taught to close, ABC, all that bullshit. But I like your methodology and the way you think about. You're like, well, gosh, you know what? I've been thinking about that blue house. Do you know how big it is? Just asking questions, becoming a value add, person, instead of, hey, what kind of script can I use to get you into the house, and then I can close. Right.
And that's the problem, because as soon as you get into that script, you're no longer authentic and you're no longer a friend.
Yeah. I never even thought about that, damn it.
Yeah, I was on the line here. It was when I was in Chicago, when I went out to see a potential client, and I was talking to somebody. I was talking to Hank Avink, we were just discussing our business and the podcast that we're working on together and stuff like that. So he asked me something about my business, and then he stopped me. He's like, "All right, you just switched into sales mode." I'm like, I did. It was just like that. I didn't even think about it. And I wouldn't consider myself a good salesman, but it was just, I slipped into something that was pre-scripted, and you can immediately tell. It's funny because when you think about, if you're an agent and you think about if your parents said, "Hey, we're thinking about listing the house," you wouldn't say, "Great, what time works best for you? Early afternoon, Monday morning, or Saturday?" You would go, "Oh,
why are you doing that?"
Like, "Oh, that's interesting. Why? Well, yeah, what's going on? What are you thinking?" The conversation is completely different. But when it's a prospect, we slip into something different for whatever reason. It's just a human. I don't know it's one of those things where we keep the training wheels on for a little too long. I don't think there's anything wrong with training wheels. It's if you don't take them off and you're 15 years old and you're riding a bike with training wheels, that's not so great. At some point you have to know, you have to have somebody step in and say, "Hey, it's time. Let's pop those things off and let's have you ride on two wheels."
Well, Matt, it's about being authentic, because and that's why I love to teach at real estate companies or financial companies or whatever, because they are all scripted. I did Tommy Hopkins and I did Mike Ferry and all those guys, but I never felt like I was really who I am. I couldn't engage them and really be a friend. So as I said, I've spent 28 years tacking back and forth, and now I've got it. And anybody that I teach how to do it will have it too. And the sales just come automatically. And if the people aren't ready now, I just had a person that called me up and wants me to write his whole company, because on the certified financial educator side, after a year and a half. So he said, "I love talking to you. You were just such a great person to be around, and you never pushed me. So I want you to write all the people in my company."
So Shirlene, I know we're not going to talk scripts because that's not authentic. So how can one of our viewers or listeners, what's something they can do to shift out of that mindset? What is a way that they can start being authentic to anyone that they come into contact with?
You just have to think of other people as being human beings and friends, not a prospect. I'm not going to make money off of them. You don't think that way first. You think about the soul that they are and the human being that they are. The money will come on its own. And I don't care how much you're hammered on to make that money. You will plant a lot of seeds over time, and they'll start rolling in and sprouting for you. You don't have to push people and hammer people. And if they go to another agent, then you weren't the right agent for them. That's how I see it.
It's interesting. I did that exact same thing 3 years ago. I had a guy, a young gal that I helped buy a house a while back. Her boyfriend at the time, no longer anymore, a guy named Ryan. He hit me up yesterday on text. Said, "Hey, Greg, I want to talk to you. I'm going to think about buying a house." And you know what I did to him 3 years ago? All I did is I put him on a drip so he can look at what the market's doing around him. And I never pushed him to do anything. And he just came directly to me because I was giving back to him. And frankly, I've been really shitty at following up, but thank God he reached out.
That may not be the best example, Greg.
But the point is, you planted the seed.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You planted the seed. And that's one of the things that they do tell us, plant the seeds. That's what your business card is, or whatever you're handing out at that time. But stop with the sales. Stop approaching people and saying, I love it when they say, well, do you want to buy or do you want to sell? I mean, come on. I'm just a person. Get over it, right? Let's talk about who we are first. And you give them the floor completely on that first step in the waltz. You never say anything about you whatsoever.
So let me run this bit of scripting by you, Shirlene. So if I was to get that question, I was an active agent, I would probably turn around with something like this. And I would say, well, it kind of depends. Like, what's got you thinking about getting into the market right now? Like, what are you seeing? Like, what's going on in your life?
So and just can I back you up a minute? What is the conversation before this? What did the person say to you before that?
This was an answer to Greg's scripting thing, where somebody asks you, like, what's the market like?
Okay. What's the market
like? It just like how's the real estate market? Just the typical question you get at a networking event.
Yeah.
So my response to that would be, well, it depends on kind of what you're looking to do. Why do you ask?
It's even better, see, why do you ask just went into the sales side, and that's like a threatening, aggressive way to put it. So if somebody says, how's the market?
I do come off threatening and aggressive too much.
Yes, you do.
guys are really like this,
I know.
And when you come,
but I'm not even trying to sell you anything. That just came out of the depths of my soul without even trying.
Yeah, see, we got to shake up your soul. You guys need my Compel Don't Sell course.
Oh God, yeah. We definitely need to put Matt through that immediately. His raw soul.
Yeah. So when they ask you how's the market, just say, how's the market been for you?
So ask a question back onto them?
Yeah. The person who's asking the questions is the one who's in control.
Yes, absolutely. They steer the conversation. So
why do you want to just do a pat answer and then cut them off? Why?
Because they don't know that it's a pat answer. Honestly.
It's sales, and they hear it from every realtor.
So the scripting would go like this. So you ask me how the market is, and I'll say, well, Shirlene, it's an excellent question. Can I ask you a question back? How's it been for you?
Yeah, you don't even have to say, can I ask you a question back? You don't need to ask permission. Just say, so how's it been
that phrase kind of comes across salesy too, doesn't it?
Oh my God.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
I'm just getting
that's my
bitch
fairy,
slapped
right?
Yeah, we're both getting bitch slapped.
I know we are.
All right, so
sure. The way of Shirlene's knowledge, we're like,
I know exactly. All right, so Shirlene, give us the. So we've gone through step 1 and step 2. We're still struggling with step 1 and 2. But what's step 3 of the waltz?
So remember what I said, when you're out at a networking group or you're anywhere away from realtors, right? Other realtors.
Those evil doers.
You lead in with the conversation so that people don't ask you, how's the market? You ask them, how are you? Tell me about you. Did you notice how I did that with Greg? And he told me all about him, and he gave me some tidbits. He told me that he liked the blue house, remember that, and along the beach, and that he'd been admiring it. See, if you ask people about them, they'll tell you things that you can pick up on and support them in step 2 of the sales waltz. But if you don't let them talk and you shut them down, that say, are you an investor? Are you this? Are you that? Are you that? They don't get a chance to know you.
Interesting. So why am I having such a freaking hard time with this? This should be so easy. I'm honestly having a rough time wrapping my head around this. I'm like, I know I'm going to do it wrong again, and I don't want to do it wrong. I want to start doing it right. So
you're not doing it wrong. You're learning. It's just you're learning, Greg. There's no wrong. There's no right. It's just like Edison. He did it over 1,000 times before he could get electricity in the light bulb, right?
Right.
So hopefully it won't take you 1,000 times, but we'll work on it.
Well, we'll work on you. We'll put you through intensive psychotherapy because obviously you have an ego complex. It's all about you, Mr. McDaniel.
So there's a couple people that brought up this point because here's the fear, right? So the fear, especially coming from someone that's very, and you know this culture, Shirlene, from because you mentioned Mike Ferry, right? So anyone that's influenced by that culture, or anyone who's influenced by anyone who's influenced by that culture, which is a lot of people, right?
Yes.
Their fear is that, well, that won't work for me because I'm cold calling. That won't work for me because I don't know enough people. My network isn't big enough. That won't work for me because it's not quick enough. I need business now. So there's a lot of fears around I'm doing cold calling because of this. And if I take that approach to building friendship and trust first, I won't get the results that I need as quickly, or I won't get as high a closing sales ratio as I'm getting now, or I'll get doing cold calling. So how do you address that objection to this whole kind of approach to sales?
I. It's all about fear and I. It's nothing about the other individual. Nothing.
So you're solely thinking about yourself when they have those fears. They aren't thinking about the other individual and what value they can bring to that person, right?
Right. And if you want to go that route, by all means, go that route. I tried it for years. It didn't work for me.
So if you want to be an egotistical, self-centered prick, go ahead and just keep on that path that you're rolling on.
You never hear me say that. It'll happen just as fast, because if you make a friend, what do friends do? They refer, right? Mm-hmm. They refer. But if you're driving hard on somebody and do the cold calls. They never work for me, but anybody who I train that's in real estate, I tell them not to do that. I tell them to get out as much as possible. Get out, be seen.
So something funny about this, Shirlene. My business was Chris here. No, Chris left. We're all back from vacation and everything. We have a Trader Joe's in our parking lot right over here. Dude, homeboy was gone for like an hour. Okay, it takes maybe 10 minutes to go there and come back. He comes back and he's like, dude, I mean, talk about, he said, all you have to do is just get out. He was talking to every single other person in there because he knew everybody. And he's like, you're like a networking at the supermarket.
Yes.
And I was like, so why'd you come back in here? You should stay out there. And it's so true. Go out there and actually be social with another human being. Be curious about them, genuinely interested in whatever they're telling you about, even if it really isn't that interesting. Be happy for them and keep on moving forward.
But now, you never know when people, and some of my students will say, well, what if they start rambling and they just keep talking and talking and talking? Hey, great news, because I tell you, you're going to pick up one thing after the next that you can answer for them and support them. And even if they're not ready for a home right now, they may be talking about some other sort of pain point that they have, and you can refer them to somebody else, and then that somebody else will start referring to you.
So I ask a lot of the times, I say, hey, like open houses or anywhere else, I say, hey, look, I meet a lot of people. Tell me what in your line of work, what does your perfect client look like? So I can keep my eyes and ears open for you. Now, is that salesy?
That's perfect. No, that's perfect. That's caring about the other person. And that's what I'm trying to do, is turn it around and stop the I, and think bigger and care for more, so that you can get more referrals.
My father is taught this way, taught me this majority of my life. Of course, obviously, apparently I've gone askew a few times in this conversation.
That's attacking. You went a little bit off there, and then you got way over here, right?
Oh, well, I took a hard left, as I usually do in life, because I'm going around.
Yeah.
But I love the idea of just honestly, excuse me, since we are in the beginning of the year, challenge you guys to think about it for the next 12 months. How can you take the I out of your life and put a we or them into your life so that you can be focusing on the other people and not be so solely focused on you? And people are probably going to say, well, God, Greg, I redid myself, my New Year's resolutions, and I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do this. Well, why don't you see if you can? Okay, so let's tackle this, Shirlene. How could someone take an I out of their daily life and project onto other people on a consistent basis? What would be something that you would recommend?
It's just opening up conversation, getting out there like your friend, your work associate Chris, did at Trader Joe's. Anywhere you go, maybe it's playing baseball with the kids' dads. There's all kinds of things, or doing sports, or whatever it is. Do something that you love to do. And even when I was doing real estate, and I did very, very well, I was at the top of the charts with RE/MAX. even then I chose 3 different things. And it was, I would do Toastmasters was one of them because I got a lot of business out of Toastmasters.
Mm-hmm.
And then I belonged to a women's group, and you guys could do the 20-30 group or something like that, the guys, whatever. And then I did something.
Why are we skipping the women's group?
You can do that.
Sorry, I just had to throw that out there.
Whoa.
Whatever. Remember what you're there for, right?
Oh, okay.
Oh, damn it.
And then you choose a very, very powerful marketing group. Only one that's very large. It should have at least 50 people or more in it. And BNI is always good if you can get into one, but with real estate, it's really tough to get into BNI because they only take one person from each profession. Yeah. But choose only 3 things. And I'm sorry, it doesn't mean you walk around the neighborhood and knock on doors. That's so old. That's just old news. And cold calling is old news, okay?
Shirlene, you're stabbing me through the heart.
Oh, you're tearing apart Greg.
This is just one big ass kicking on Greg. I mean, everything. I'm like, you should do this, you should do that. Daily, actually.
Just trying to tell you how you can relax, Greg, and really enjoy what you do by putting other people before you.
Yeah, I absolutely will. Oh my God,
that's funny.
Everyone,
right. Oh my God.
Not
well,
wrong.
There's a couple of things I want to get into.
We're only learning.
Yes, we are learning.
Yes. And Greg likes what he does for some reason. I don't understand why Greg likes cold calling better than all this other stuff, but he does seem to.
Yeah.
I don't know that I like it more. It's just more time efficient, Dick.
Yeah, but there's so many other things that you could do, and you choose to sit in your office and do cold calls.
I'm going to change that. Shirlene has convinced me that I should not be doing that. I need to be projecting out into other people, Matt. Other people that you need to get at your house too.
With heart.
Hey, I'm going to a networking event on Wednesday, so you shut up over there. All right, Shirlene, I want to talk. We talked about
Women's Wisdom Friday. Come to Women's Wisdom Friday. There aren't many guys. You'd probably love it.
Yeah, Matt would fit right in.
Probably love it. All right. Well, we've got about 10 minutes left. I don't think we got to the third step of the sales waltz, so we'll leave that for people to go get the compelled to sell and get information about what you do. But I wanted to get into some kind of next level stuff real quick in the last 10 minutes that we have, because this actually did come up. So Josh Bryan, who's a fan of the show, and we've met with him a couple of times when I was in Chicago. A super good guy. He randomly got an opportunity to be on local television to talk about the implications of Britain leaving the EU on the economy and therefore the local real estate market. Now, this is a guy who was in his late 20s and has been in real estate for all of what
10 minutes,
less than a year, 10 months.
Yeah.
And he's supposed to comment on Brexit, right? So setting aside the content part, because he reached out to me and he's panicking, like asking, like what in the world do I talk about? So I gave him some links and some talking point ideas and stuff like that. But what I couldn't necessarily help him out with a ton, Shirley, and this is where I want you to come in, is just what are some really practical things that somebody that gets that opportunity to be on local TV or radio for the first time, how do you really just be as comfortable as you possibly can be? You're going to be nervous, but what are some practical things you can do to make the most of that opportunity?
I don't know.
That's the greatest.
I know. I finally stumped you.
No, I'm just joking. Since it's totally out of his topic, I think I would do a lot of practicing. It's one thing to speak on something that you know very well, like we're doing here today. I mean, we're just kind of bantering back and forth and having a good time because we all know our topic very, very well. Mm-hmm. And I think if I was him, I would do some research with people in the know in that segment, because even when I went out and interviewed Robert Allen, who talks about multiple streams of income, I did a lot of research on him. Plus, he'd been my mentor for 20 years. So we knew the context of what we were going to discuss. And when you're going to go out and discuss something you know nothing about, you have to do a lot of research and you have to talk to people who are in the know about that. That's so important. And it's great you provided him links, Matt. That was awesome. But it's not enough, because he doesn't know what kind of questions are going to be asked. And that's the big thing, is what are the questions that they're going to ask me? So I would tell them what I want them to ask me, or ask them what they intend to ask me. So I'd be smart, you know?
Yeah, and to come across as an actual expert in the field. But about a couple of years ago, I did my first live. A guy who's a big radio show, Alan Crawling 4, a guy named Rob Black. He's like, hey, do you want to come do live TV with me? Well, of course, my natural response was, hell yeah. Dude, I set when they're like, and 3, 2, 1, and pointed at pointed at us to go. I swear to God, I grabbed onto the bottom of my stool I was sitting on because I literally blacked out and I almost fell off the stool. I'm like, oh no! Oh, I don't know how I made it. It actually looks like I did a pretty good job, but yeah, definitely prepare, guys, because it scared the living shit out of me.
Yeah. And the thing is, if you can get on the set early, like when people come on the set with us, my co-host is Barbara Wainwright, and she's an amazing woman who has certified over 6,000 coaches.
Whoa.
And we have a lot of synergy like the two of you do. So we get them on the set before it's a go, and we start laughing with them and having a good time with them. So when they segue in, it's very easy on them because we've already been there together for a bit.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, it helps a lot.
Throw some Jello shots in there. We call it a perfect package.
Yeah.
Just an idea. It's like a snack and a nerve calmer.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Or take a Tylenol just before you go to take the edge off.
We see drug use is being recommended for television appearances.
That's right. We just want to make sure that we got that down. Shirlene Reeves is recommending drug ingestion before all TV appearances.
It does work. I'm sorry to say. I used to have to do it when I first started in Toastmasters because I was absolutely terrified. So I would time it just perfectly before I had to get up and speak, just 20 minutes before, and boom, it would kick in, and I'd be
Hey, whatever gets you over the hump, right? That's awesome
exactly.
stuff.
Benadryl, cocaine. Yeah, I mean, whatever it takes.
I didn't say any of that. No.
Yeah.
That's just Adam. I mean, he just talked about his daily ritual before going on the show here. That's okay.
Oh, was it? Well, there is a very large Starbucks espresso behind me. That's what I got to do to keep up with Greg.
Yeah, and I just drink water. So imagine that. Imagine me not.
Thank God you're not doing the carrot juice.
Oh, no, I did. See?
You did? Oh.
My carrot juice.
Oh, that's why you're feisty. God. I need to call up Trader Joe's and just buy up every case of that stuff they have and just keep it constantly out of supply. All right, guys. So, Shirlene, remind everybody of how they can reach out, connect with you, and learn more about what you do.
Well, I really hope they reach out and connect with me because it'll really, really enhance their sales when it comes to real estate. I can't begin to tell you how much so. And just go to massivevisibilitymedia.com and start by taking the little Compel Don't Sell quiz. It's only 10 questions and you'll get it back in your email. And if you don't pass, it'll take you to a page that tells you all about Compel Don't Sell. And I only take 10 students per class because I want to make sure that you really get it into your bones. Mm-hmm. And I only do it once a month for those 2 days. And then for 5 days before that, you receive email with 5 videos. So I remember I was saying we talk about your personality. You take your sales profile so that we can see where it is that you are struggling. And then you learn so much about yourself. And then you take what you learn about yourself and move it toward working with other people. And that's how you change to working with heart, is first of all, knowing exactly who you are as a salesperson and then reaching out to your clients. And so we do the 2-day Compel Don't Sell all day. They're all day. And we do it on Zoom. So you don't have to go anywhere. It's awesome. I love it.
Ooh, hey, that's fantastic.
Yes, we do it on Zoom for 2 days. So I really love it.
You got a couple of long days coming up.
Yeah, but you know what? It's a topic I love, and I have a lot of video. You know, I do so much video, and I have a lot of video in it, and I have guest experts that come in and do some teaching too. So it's pretty exciting. I'm really looking forward to it.
So, Shirlene, we have one of our listeners, Arne. She's been listening along. She says she loves this. Thank you to you. She's loved every minute of this. And I got to say, I have loved every minute of this. Matt and I do a lot of shows.
Thank you for that.
And there's some shows that we don't always learn everything we would like to. And then there's also other shows like this one where you're leaving our audience hungry for more knowledge, because you have for them what could be the easy button in life, and in real estate you're gonna strip away all the bullshit, and you're gonna rework it for them so that they can go and they can start thinking and working off of a different way of life. Giving massive value to the people you're around instead of trying to close them. People always ask, well, how do I close someone at the listing appointment? And I always say to them, you don't close, you open with massive value. Right. And be interested in who they are, what they need, their timelines, their expectations, and everything else. So
yeah, I think that's the big takeaway. I mean, you can debate the tactics and the phrasing, and I'm sure people will because they already are in the comments. But what I don't think you can debate is that, number one, all business development is personal development.
That's right.
Number two, the best business people seem to be counterintuitively, they seem to be the ones that they may be selfish in other areas, but in business they are unselfish. Yeah. Or they selfishly focus on the other person. It's a very weird thing. I don't know quite how to express it, because it's not this woo-woo. It's not Christian selflessness. It's just an enlightened understanding that what is in my best interest is doing what's best for other people, and doing it for as many people as possible.
That's exactly it. That's so right on, Matt. I couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you for that. I really appreciate it.
So hopefully people can implement that, because it's just a mental shift,
Yeah, I've taken a lot away from this.
Because what they're teaching in the offices it's the old style. It's the old, I mean, it goes back so far, probably 30 years it goes back. And this is a whole different way. And even the millennials are all about friendships and family and caring about other people. And I think that we just need to take a bigger, broader view of who we want to be. And I learned when I was maybe 20, 25, if I could find 5 people that really love me, I had made it this time around on earth. So what I did is I set out to have thousands of people love me. And I've been doing it all my life. And I'm so grateful that I have so many friends I can turn to and so many people that refer me. It's just amazing. And I know you can do it too.
It's just changing the way you think. Matt, when he and I first hooked up and started doing the podcast and everything, I thought, let's advertise for the show. Let's do this. Let's do that. And he's like, no, dude, no. You know what? I don't want to do it. I don't want to advertise. I'm like, well, why not, jackass? He's like, because Greg, I wouldn't read it. But it's true. And I'm like, well, glad that you died and became king. But we ultimately had never done any ads, and we're going to start doing some stuff. We're going to tell stories and bring value to people and give something in return, instead of saying ad, because the average person will see 35 to 4,000 ads per day.
Exactly.
Knowing it, and you just goes into white noise, and that's the same thing of you trying to close, of being pushy and bullying.
It's about what we want.
It's all about
me. If you go out on a listing appointment and you are friendly and you're caring and you're supportive and you're not trying to sell, because that first appointment is never the sale,
right?
They will come back to you, I promise, because they will know that you came from your heart and you really care about them. That's the huge thing. And they were heard. That's really big.
Yeah, I was going to say my sales process is the same way. And I'm sure, Shirlene, with you selling like combination of kind of like coaching and professional services and stuff, never. If somebody wants to sign up after the first sale, that doesn't make me feel good. It makes me feel suspicious.
Yeah. And they're probably going to cancel.
Exactly. Yeah. So anyway, all right, guys, we got to wrap it up there. Vince says, great show as always. Can't wait to see them uploaded to your podcast channel. Thanks, and screw you too, Vince. We'll get them up when we good and we'll feel like it. Seriously, we just hired a producer. We're training her this week to replace our assistant who's no longer with us. And so we are doing our best to catch up on some of the episodes that we broadcast here on Facebook and getting those into the system and up onto iTunes and submitted. So we're running a little bit behind. So bear with us on that, guys, but you can always come back to Facebook here and watch the episodes after they've live broadcast. They're all on Greg's channel. They're on the Real Estate Uncensored channel, and they're here in the LGSO group. So with that said, guys, go check us out, McDanielRealEstateSystems.com. You can get Greg's favorite scripts. Go download that. That is absolutely free. And then our farming system. What's up?
We just added more scripts. We recorded more scripts.
No, we have not. We have recorded them. They are not there yet.
Yes. Well, they're not there yet, but they are recorded. Now,
Yes.
we recorded the circle prospecting. We recorded the go for no script guys that I do. So more goodies are coming your way.
That's right. That's right. All right, guys. Thank you so much. We love you guys. Appreciate it. Greg, anybody you want to shout out to?
You, buddy. I just want to shout out to you, buddy.
All right, stop.
No, hey guys, follow me on Facebook, guys. Don't friend me, please. Follow me on Facebook. Follow me on Instagram at McDanielCallahan.realestate. I'm going to try to do more stuff there. Follow Matt at Pursuing Results across all channels. And we will be back same bad place, same bad time on Wednesday for more of the podcast goodness. But follow us, like us, tell your friends about us, guys. Help us help more people. Also, if you are or know of someone that is an admin on a real estate Facebook group, please reach out to us. I want to talk with you guys about an opportunity, about how we can bring value from this show to your people or the people of other groups. Okay, Matt, are you guys ready to put a little bow on this, as you say?
And I just say
Absolutely.
thank you for having me. I really loved it.
Thanks, Shirlene. We appreciate you coming on. It was awesome.
It was so much fun, Shirlene. Thank you so much. And we're out of here, guys. See you.